Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working with randomness in SDL3 using C++. Honestly, I don't think like I am going to start off with SDL3. That said, last stream some of you guys did say me to like work with the randomness in like C++ and Python. We didn't have like random modules, but in C++ I honestly don't know how to work with it. So let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. Okay, and let's say something like, let's say, live exclamation. And guys, if I can, commentate properly, it's because I've got kind of warmed up right now. That said, since his arrived, chat and, okay, chat, eyes front, pupils spine straight. Okay, we're live and we're not wasting a single neuron. Today we forge controlled chaos, not noise, not gambling, design. Chance favors prepared minds, okay. Good breathing, now we shall learn randomness in C++ from absolute zero. Computers are deterministic machines that don't roll dice, they pretend to use using math. That's called pseudo-randomness and it's perfect for games. Modern C++ gives us a tool in random. Okay, so we do have a random module or a random library here. That's it, there are three pieces. Miss one and your game is broken. The engine, the chaos machine. The engine generates a long sequence of numbers, okay, that look random. The go-to engine for game standard MT19937. Honestly, I haven't like heard of that. That's it. This is the Mercenary Twisters that I pronounced it fast, high quality, stable games I've approved. Okay, hello, how are you doing? Nicholas, I pronounced your name. I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, think of it as a factory belt spitting out numbers forever. The speed, the straight spark without a seed. The engine starts the same way every time. Same run, same random results, boring. Okay, we seed with time, so each one feels new, important brain node. Same seed, same world, okay? Different seed, different world. Seeds are why two players can have different experiences. Honestly, I see. Hello, how are you doing, Nikhil? Okay, the distribution, the rules of game, the engine makes numbers, the distribution decides how those numbers are shaped. Most common for games, uniform integer distribution, give me a number, A and B equally likely. Okay, honestly, I see. I don't know why is this like, saying me the whole randomness type stuff. Okay, that said, are you AI? Honestly, no, I'm not AI. That said, let's see. So last stream I did like go over this code, although there was a small mistake here. My NPC's text was not being displayed on the window alongside his replies. So I was kind of exhausted last stream, so I said I'm going to be fixing this stream. That's it. Today I do have a clear mind, so let's get to fixing this. Honestly, I feel like it wouldn't even take that long. Let's see. Okay, so firstly, I have a standard string of get reply. Although before I actually do get reply, I realized one thing. I already have my hello keys as value set, so your English accent is amazing. Honestly, that does mean the world to me. I appreciate you, Nikhil. Okay, that said, the mistake that I was doing last stream was that I did not return my value here. So if my hello is set, then I want to go ahead and return my value. Wait, isn't this like correct? Hold on, guys. Let's see. Expected an expression. Okay. So an equal to is an expression here. Although I am pretty sure, like last stream, I did check something. So if my mood equals to angry, I respond with my angry's value. That should be hello. Hold on, guys. Let me actually go to my C++ practice project real quick. Okay, let's see if I were to scroll all the way up here. Okay, so apparently I gotta add if statements here. Okay, so let's see. Let me go to my SDL3 project here as well. Okay, I see. So basically what I was doing wrong is, even though I did add my storyline up here somewhere, honestly, this is my get reply, it's not my storyline. So if my angry, so I'm gonna add a if statement here and type something like, I don't know, maybe something like if my input text, what my user types is equal to, let's go with something like hello, then I want to go ahead and return this value, and then let's just go ahead and copy this to save time. Honestly, I might just copy this part, or I might just add a few if statements. Okay, next up I'm going to go with something like if my input text is equal to, let's go with something like bye, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to return perish fool. Okay, bro, why are you watching decreasing? Watching decreasing, what does that mean? Okay, where you okay, you're from which country, brother? Honestly, I used to answer much, but these days I did like avoid saying that. That's next up. Let's go with another if statement. I'm gonna go with something like if my input text equals to. I'll go with something like how are you? Then I'm gonna go ahead and reply with something. Okay, can you make a video how to set up stream like you? Honestly, I could do that if I have some time. That said, I did like watch a lot of tutorials. I'm not like as good, as good at setting up my stream and all that. Because, guys, I was just blindly following a tutorial and it apparently worked. That's next I'm gonna go with something like another if statement. I'm gonna type something like if my input text equals to. Let's go with something like sorry. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's go ahead and return. No more chats, fool. Okay, actually that should be pretty much it type stuff. I might actually copy this part though. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this if statement. Now I'm gonna go ahead and paste those if statements for my mood. If it's hello as well, I'm gonna check if my input text is hello. Then I'm gonna go ahead and paste this here as well. So there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this here. And maybe I'm gonna paste it like 2 more times. So there we go. Okay, and last stream I was like struggling a lot with this, but then off stream I did like work a bit on this. So I did figure out that it was like a silly mistake that I was doing. There we go. Okay, I gotta go ahead and return values here. I'm pretty sure this should be working now. Let's go with something like return, and lastly I'm gonna go with something like return. Okay, now if my input text is something like bye, I'm gonna go ahead and return farewell traveler. If my input text is something like how are you, then I'm gonna go ahead and return I'm doing great. And lastly, if my input text is something like sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and return no more apologies. Okay, and honestly, just to save time again, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part. Maybe I copy the return part as well. There we go. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Let's go ahead and paste this here as well. So paste this 2 more times. Okay, and paste it 1 more time. Alright, perfect. Bro, what should I do to write codes with Python like you? Honestly, I had like a Python series like about 93 days ago. That's the the way I did write code is by like writing a lot of code. So by adding like more practice and like working on my basics and like using those basics to like actually make a project. That's it. Let's see. Let's go with something like bye. And guys, if I can't talk properly right now, it is because I'm not warmed up yet. Because I just like woke up. I just like woke up a while ago. Okay, let's see. Use switch for mood. I could actually use switches. Do I want to like change the whole thing though right now? I might actually try switches for the next time I write this part, because actually I do prefer using like switches type stuff. Okay, that said, firstly I go ahead and check my mood, and then I return I return depending on my keyword here, depending on my input text, and then I go with a void method, okay, for updating my mood. I use if statements to update my mood, so let's go with Control C here. There we go. Okay, so if my hello count is greater than my bye count, and my hello count is greater than my how are you count, and my hello count is greater than my sorry count, then apparently my mood is going to be happy. Okay, that's actually like pretty much it. Then I display my NPCs as text and display my entire text on my window. Let's go ahead and copy my color. I want to actually get my color up here. There we go. Okay, now do I need a back here? I do not think that I need a back here. Okay, so let's see. So SDL3 surface, this is going to be my get reply. I'm assuming this is going to be my input text. So I'm going to go with something like input text. And that is going to be my mood, which is a C string. Okay, maybe I might actually need my last here. What up, guys? Here we go. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code. Okay, hold on, guys. Why do I have like 2 parentheses here? When I do create my surface here, so I create my surface. That is my initial if statement. Then I go with another if statement that ends all the way here. I think that I have an extra if statement here. I mean, an extra pair of parentheses. There we go. Okay. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. Okay, what kind of project is this? Honestly, I am like working on today's stream is based on actually text-based AI logic in SDL3 using C++. Although I didn't go with that stuff today because I am working with randomness. I was supposed to complete this code like last year, but last year I got really exhausted type stuff, so I didn't like complete it. Okay, that's it. Let's add a pair of parentheses here. There we go. Okay, what up, guys? Let's go all the way up here. Okay, am I like missing something here? What if I get this here? There we go, that looks better. Okay, now, if I did Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and then let's wait for my window to compile. While there is, I might eat some fruits. Okay, I get my window here. So now, if I were to hit left shift and enable my chat, which pauses my entire game, and type something like hello, my mage replies by saying hello my friend. But now I gotta go ahead and get this text above my mage's head. I don't know why did it like spawn above my player's head. What if I type something like how are you? Okay, the two texts overlap. What up guys, let's go with something like left shift again. I'm gonna go with something like how are you question mark. Guys, these texts are just overlapping. I gotta like fix it. Okay, it says hello my friend, hello my friend, hello my friend. So let's see. So to get my mage's text above his head, I could go ahead and do something here. Let's see. Maybe one the thing that I did with my player here, I gotta do it with my mage. So I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know, maybe set something like let's go with something like my chat.rect.x-axis. My chat's x-axis is gonna be equal to, I want to go with my mage, but then speaking of which, I feel like my mage's text and my chat's text use the same exact rect. Should I like change that part? If I were to scroll all the way up here, let's see. So display, this is display player text on window. Okay, so I have display player text on window, and then I have display NPC text on window as well. Okay, so I display my NPC text on my window, but I do want to set its position. I don't know where to actually set its position. Maybe I could go ahead and I don't know, maybe add something like rect.x-axis is going to be equal to, maybe I go with something like my chat. Okay, this is my chat's class, so my chat's x-axis is going to be equal to my mage. I don't actually have access to my mage's object here. Okay, speaking of which, I feel like this is kind of confusing up here. Maybe I might actually try adding it down here, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this part. Let's go ahead and paste it here. So there we go. Okay, now I'm just going to be changing my heroes to mages, because honestly I feel like this should be working. All I want to do is like get my mage's text above my mage's PNG. I'm gonna go ahead and change that to be mage as well. Let's change that to be mage. And lastly, okay, I feel like this is pretty much it. Let's go with something like mage.rect.x-axis. Okay, now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here, and then I get my window here as well. My mage can move, my player can move, my player can jump. If I were to hit shift, then it pauses my entire window, and it enables my chat if I type something like hello. Okay, this is my player's. Okay, now my player's position is being, my player's chat is being overwritten above my mage's text. I think to fix that, I might need to create two separate recs, one for my NPC and one for my player. Is that even like worth it to do it? I might actually try it though. Okay, so let's scroll all the way up here. Okay, so when I create chat, that is going to be my player's rec, but I don't want to like use the exact same rec. So what if I were to copy my rec from here and I don't know, maybe paste it somewhere right here? I don't want to like create a rec up here though. I could just leave it here honestly. Okay, so let's leave my rec there, but I want to go ahead and create another rec. So I'm going to go with something like SDL_F rec, which is going to be called something like NPC rec, ending with a semicolon. I could like go with something like mage rec, but I feel it's honestly the same thing. Okay, now let's go ahead and change my positions here by typing something like NPC rec dot width and my NPC rec dot height. Okay, I multiply that by my textures is width and my texture is height. Then I'm gonna go with something like NPC rec here as well. Okay, and I feel like that should be pretty much it. Now let me scroll all the way down here, and I'm gonna be changing my regular rec to be something like my NPC rec. So I'm gonna go with something like NPC rec, because honestly my NPC rec here is like my direction rec type stuff. Wait, did I like spell my NPC rec wrong? In my mage's class. Okay, maybe, hold up guys, let's go with Control Z here. Okay, I'm gonna go with a bunch of control Z's. Okay, I'm gonna be changing my chat.npc rect. So my chat has a npc rect. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Let's paste it here. Let's paste it here. Okay, and lastly, let's paste it here. Now it should work. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and I get my window here. There we go. Okay, so if I were to hit Shift, if I were to click Shift, that pauses my game, enables my chat. If I type something like hello, it says hello, my friend. So we just needed two separate recs. I see. That's it. Might eat some apples now. Okay, so if I were to say how are you as well, I kind of like use a question mark. So, maybe let me enable my chat again. I'm gonna go with something like bye. It says farewell traveler, maybe meet again. And I get my console here as well. What if I were to type something like hello again? Okay, I mean it does work. Let's go with a few more buys. I'm gonna go with buys. So, okay, this thing, it does not change my mood. So I gotta go ahead and change my mood real quick. I might actually add a if statement to do that. So let's go all the way up to my chats class right here. Okay, so when I update my mood, before I do update my mood, I'm gonna go ahead and create a void method called something like, I don't know. Actually, inside my update mood, I could go with an if statement. Okay, let's go with something like if, a parentheses. I'm gonna go ahead and check if not my history dot empty. If my histories vector is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and create a standard string variable called something like last, which is going to be equal to, I'll go with something like my history.back, which is the last element of my histories. I think I spelled it wrong. This should be TORY. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, once I get a last variable, I'm going to go ahead and use a for loop to iterate over my histories vector to check what's the last element of it. So I'm going to go with something like a, let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my histories.size, my vector's size, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1. Then I go with the prof curly braces. Now, inside my for loop, I'm going to go ahead and check something. I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe add a if statement to check something. So I'll go with something like if a prof parentheses. Let's say something like if my last, should I go with last? I could check if my I equals to hello. So if my I equals to hello, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I want to go ahead, okay, for every, okay, I don't think I gotta go with something like integer. I might go with something like, so if my history is at index of I, there we go. So if my history at index of I equals to 0, okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's say I want to go ahead and increment my hello count by 1. So I'm going to go with hello count plus, ending with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done with that, let me go ahead and end this with a semicolon. I might copy this. Okay, did I like miss something here? Okay, did you get the character to communicate yet? Honestly, yeah, I'm just adding, whatchamacallit, I'm adding an if statement to like increment my variables here, like my integer variables up here. That said, I increment my hello count by 1, and let's end this with a semicolon. Next up, let me go ahead and add a else if. I'm gonna check if my history, let's go with something like if my history at index of I is equal to, let's go with something like by, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I want to go ahead and increment my by count by 1, so I'm going to go with something like by count plus, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'm going to add another else if to check something. I'm going to check if my history at index of I is equal to, let's go with something like how are you, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Let's see, I'm going to maybe increment to, okay, what should I increment for this? I might actually increment, let's see. Okay, my mood should be something like, how are you? Okay, I might go ahead and change this to be happy. So I'm gonna go ahead and increment my how are you count by 1. There we go. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And lastly, I'm gonna check if or else if my history at index of I is equal to something like story, then I'm going to go ahead and increment my story count by 1. Okay, then I end this with a semicolon. And I feel like that should honestly be pretty much it. Okay, speaking of which, I don't think that I needed something like a last variable here. Unless I check if history is at index of last. I think I should go with something like history is at index of last. Or maybe instead of going with something like at index of last, I could just check if my last equals to hello. Okay, since I'm doing that, do I even like need an index base for a loop? Okay, maybe I don't think that I need... Okay, you know what? I think I might need a histories at index of I, but I might not need my status string of last variable here. Because honestly, I did not make any sense up there. Okay, this should actually be pretty much it. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So, I get my console here, and then I get my window here as well. Okay, maybe let me drag the window a bit back there. If I were to hit something like Shift to disable my window and enable my chat, if I type something like hello. Alright guys, here we go. Okay, my NPC replies by saying hello my friend. If I go with something like bye, it says farewell traveler. If I type bye again, it says farewell traveler again. Okay, I mean, it says the same exact thing. C++ I said to be more difficult learning compared to other coding language software. Do you think that is true? Honestly, I've just learned like Python besides C++. That's it. I wouldn't say like C++ is actually really hard if you like understand the basics type stuff. It actually feels like it's kind of fun to write it though. Okay, that said, I don't think that I actually increment my I by 1 here, or like these variables up here. So how do I actually increment them? Maybe in my get reply, if I type something like hello, okay, maybe I go ahead and update my mood before I actually get my replies. So let's go ahead and copy my update moods, this function here. Actually method, because function inside of class are called methods. That's it. Let's go above my standard string of get reply. I'm going to go ahead and paste this here. Now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here and I get my window here. If I hit Shift to disable my window and enable my chat, let's see what happens. If I were to type something like hello, my NPC says hello my friend. If I were to type something like bye, it says farewell, farewell, farewell. Okay, it did say perish full, which means my variables are like my integer were increasing. If I were to say something like, if I were to like spam a bunch of stories, would it like change something? It says no more chats full, no more chats full, no more chats full. Okay, how many stories do I gotta like spam? I mean, I'd say like something is still kind of messed up here. What up guys? Probably could it be because I've been using like else ifs? What if I just went with like ifs? So okay, let's try and change this to something like ifs. Although the sad part did work though. Okay, so I go with something like an index-based for loop. Am I like messing something up here? Okay, so only if my histories is not empty. I don't like use my histories for anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. So let's get this back. I could have just used like shift tab. That's it. Now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Honestly, I don't think I want to get my console here for the time being. I just want to check if this part works. So let me type something like bye. It says perish full. If I were to type something like hello, get out of my sight full. If I were to type hello again. Okay, so it says hello my friend. If I were to spam a bunch of sorries, let's see what happens. No more apologies. Okay. Okay, I feel like whatchamacallit, something does feel a bit messed up. So if my mood does change once, then it does not change anymore. Okay, why could that be? Let's maybe check this part up here. So if my hello count is greater than my bye count, and my hello count is greater than my how are you count, and my hello count is greater than my stories count, then my mood is happy. And depending on my mood, I'm going to be returning a few values. Honestly, I feel like this shouldn't be that tough. Okay, because I feel everything does sound kind of good. Okay, bro, I want to learn coding from zero, how to start, what to do. Honestly, I would like recommend to follow like a roadmap and then like keep on like learning the basics and don't like move on to really advanced stuff before understanding the basics. That's it. It also like depends on like preference. You people, they prefer learning by working on like hard projects type stuff. That said, I would also like recommend seeing like what way do you prefer learning the best? Like, would it be using AIs? Would it be using tutorials? Or like, I don't know, would it be using courses type stuff and all that stuff? Maybe docs as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, for the time being, I'm trying to like figure out what this actually does. So I have one for angry, happy, and sad. Do I got one for happy, angry, happy, sad? So I have 3 kinds of moods up here. Okay, I have 3 kinds of variables up here. Maybe 4 kinds of variables, but 3 kinds of moods. Am I really messing up somewhere? What if I like change this to something like last? So if last equals to hello, then hello count increases by 1. Maybe I might actually try last as well instead of like a for loop. So I might go with something like a standard string of last. Before I create my last, I'm gonna check if my histories vector is not empty. So I'm gonna go with something like if not history dot empty. If my histories vector is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces and then create a standard string of last variable, which is gonna be, let's say, something like equal to, I don't know, maybe something like histories.empty. Actually, not histories.empty. History.the back function. Guys, I should like actually work on my typos. Anyone build blockchain apps here? Honestly, I haven't like heard of that, but that does sound kind of cool. I'm a computer teacher and I don't know coding. Guys, computer. Okay, it depends. Like, are you like, do you like teach stuff related on how to use a computer? Because like I feel like being a computer teacher and like knowing coding is maybe kind of a different stuff. That said, let's see. And guys, if I can't like commentate properly, I feel like today is just not my day, guys. That's it. Let me actually eat something. I'm starving. Okay, now to update my mood, let's see. These things, they change my mood. I could go ahead and check something like if my last. Okay, so if my last variable, I think it's got to be like lowercase, is equal to something like hello, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Okay, guys, this should be in an if statement. Okay, so if my last is hello, then I'm going to go ahead and return something. I'm going to go ahead and increase my hello count by 1, ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and like copy this just to save some time. Let's go ahead and paste it maybe a bunch of times. I'm going to change if my last is something like bye, or if my last is something like how are you. Then I'm going to do something. Let's actually change my last here to be equal to something like maybe sorry as well. I'm going to go ahead and increase my bye count by 1. I'm going to go ahead and increase my how are you count by 1 as well. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and lastly increase my sorry count by 1. Okay, and here's the thing. The only time I want to increase my count is when I type return. So I might actually require a parameter or a constant parameter. Let's go with something like constant SDL underscore events structure, which consists of the memory address of an event. Now, before my initial if statement, I'm gonna check something. Hi Tib, I appreciate you joining the stream. I teach tally accounting, Excel, and graphics and web designing. That actually sounds really cool. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if my user is currently pushing a button down on my keyboard, I'm going to go ahead and look for the exact button that's being pushed down. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which is going to be represented by a keys' local variable that is going to be equal to event.key.key, which is the current key that's being pushed down. Can you say the C# docs in 200% speed? Guys, saying the C# doc in 200% speed is kind of crazy. Okay, bro, why are you not using switch case instead of if? Guys, I just actually forgot. I gotta use switches. Let me actually use switch here. So I'm gonna go with something like switch. If my switch is key, I'm gonna add a few cases. The first case is gonna be checking something. I'm running a YT channel, also JCC official. What are you doing is very interesting, and I feel like learning all this too. Honestly, good luck with that. Okay, does that pronounce your name? Okay, I can help you with that. That's it. I'm going to check if my SDL's key is something like return. Return is basically enter in my keyboard. So if my user is currently pushing return, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and copy this part and let's check something. So I'm gonna go ahead and check if my histories is not empty, then I'm gonna go ahead and create a lastest variable, and depending on what my user types, I'm gonna increment my hello count by 1. If you're well versed in English, you can like look up CS50. Hold up guys, give me a sec, let me actually check something. Okay, hold up guys, let me actually mute myself real quick. Give me a sec. Already mic testing, mic testing. Let me go to my gameplay screen again. Hey guys, just ignore the background voices. There we go. Alright, so let me see, where was I? Alright, so firstly, I was gonna go ahead and check my event type. So if my event type was keyed on, I checked if my return is being pressed. If my return was being pressed, I checked if my histories was empty. And depending on that, I incremented my variables. Okay, now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So, I get a small error here. Oh, maybe because I forgot to like add my events parameter up here. Okay, let's scroll all the way down. I do require events parameter here. Okay, now if I did Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, and then waiting for my window to compile. Let's see. Hold on, guys. I don't know why the window sometimes takes a while to compile. Maybe I just chow down on something while it compiles. Okay, if I did shift to disable my window and enable my chats and type something like hello, it does, my NPC does reply by saying something like hello my friend. If I type something like bye, it says farewell traveler. If I type bye again, it says perish fool. So the counting does work. But if I go ahead and apologize a few times, there we go. Okay, that apparently like fixes part. Okay, I gotta like work with you how are you count type stuff. Okay, so if I type something that my NPC did not understand, I return 0, which ends my entire program up there. Okay, or if you prefer someone, you can with Indian accent, you can buy cohort of her kit. Is that how you pronounce it? It'll cost you like 5 to 10k. Oh, I see. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with that, that was honestly like pretty much it for fixing my code here. All I gotta do is maybe add an else to like add a standard console output instead of like returning my stuff like right here. Because if I type something that my user does not understand, then apparently that changes to... Alright guys, let me just remove these question marks from here. That apparently just exists my entire program type stuff. Although instead of going with return, I went with something like standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like I don't understand. There we go. Okay, this should like fix the part. Let's go with something like I don't understand exclamation. And then I'm going to go with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, are you in college, Vivek? Honestly, I am like a freshman in college. That's it. Hey man, what's up? How are you doing, Dhruv? I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, lastly, let's go ahead and return 0, saying everything went good here, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here and my window here. Okay, I'm new, so can you please guide me every day? Honestly, I do have a roadmap. If you guys do want, like, if you guys are like planning to learn C++ and want a roadmap, you guys could like join my Discord server. I do like have my roadmaps there. Okay, do you work in any tech company? Honestly, no. That's it. Now, if I were to type something like, how are you? Let's see what happens. Let's go with something like, how are you? If I were to enter, my NPC says something like, I'm doing great. If I say something like, bye, it says, farewell, traveler. If I were to type bye again, it says, perish fool, because my mage is angry now. What if I type something like, I don't know, maybe hello? It says, get out of my sight. If I type hello again, get out of my sight again. If I type hello again, it says, hello, my friend. Okay, perfect. That actually works. That said, if you need the text multiple times, use a enum, bro. Honestly, I did like use a enum up here. So like I added the enum, and depending on my enum, I do like switch my moods as well. Okay, that's it. Now I feel I don't have Discord. Honestly, in that case, you you could like maybe message me on YouTube, but I feel like I don't think YouTube allows me to send that big of a text type stuff. That's the reason like I do have it in Discord, because like it's a really big roadmap and all that. That said, this should actually be pretty much it. Now, back to the actual topic of my stream, which is working with randomness in C++. Okay, let me see something like, let's say, okay, let's say something like, maybe can I get a reference code to see how we use randomness in C++. Do we need a module? Honestly, I have like worked with randomness in like Python, but I haven't used that in C++ ever, so this is going to be something new. Listen closely, people. This is reference code, not a spell you copy blindly. Read it, trace it, and understand the flow. No module is needed. C++ uses headers. For randomness, you only need one, so I do gotta include random. And then include chrono. I'm assuming chrono is like chronological. Okay, can you run it and explain the functionalities of my code here? Okay, so if I did control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here and I get my window up here. So basically what this is, I didn't like add a lot of functions up here. I didn't add like a lot of content where my actual player has like HP, like health bar or anything, because I was working on AI based text logic, and this was like the state 6 where my NPC responds depending on his mood and depending on what my user types. So if I were to type something like bye, my NPC says fresh mood because currently his mood is mad. Next up, if I were to type something like hello, my NPC says get out of my side because his mood is still angry. But if I were to go with something like hello again, it changes his mood to be something like happy. If I were to type bye here, it says something like farewell traveler type stuff. If I were to hit right shift, that enables my chat. I can move my player around, but I do gotta like remove my text from up there. Okay, hey, so I'm new to your stream and channel, and I'm also new to code, so can you please tell me what are you working on and teaching? Honestly, I was working on AI-based text logic last stream, but I was really exhausted to like complete this code last stream, so I did like say that I'm going to be working on it this stream, and I was just done with the type stuff. Okay, that's now I'm actually working on randomness in like C++, where I do gotta include the random module. I just want to see if I can actually include it, or do I need to like download some kind of headers? Okay, keep doing. Where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer that much, but these days I did like avoid saying that. Let's go with something like random. So I can include random. Okay, let's actually get some say/chat GPT back up here. So, okay, let's just remove random from here. Okay, now let's get some say/chat GPT up here. And let's see. So optional, I got include chrono for seeding with time. So minimal queen reference modern C++ randomness. So I include IO stream, I include random, I include chrono. And then I create a main function. So unsigned scene equals to standard chrono. Okay, steady clock now time since epoch.count. Honestly, I haven't like heard of this. This is like a massive function name. Actually, it's not a function, honestly. Okay, Ohio accent, guys. Ohio accent is kind of crazy. That's it. Let's see. So I go with something like standard MT19937 engine seed. Okay, let's see something like standard uniform integer distribution, which only consists of integers. I'm assuming it's called something like this. And are these coordinates or something? Also, this is like a dice rolling program. I'm gonna copy this. And then, do you know how to hack games? Honestly, no, I haven't like learned that yet. That's it. If I were to go with control A, let's go ahead and delete all this and paste it here. I want to see how does this actually work. If I hit control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here. NPC moves left. Okay, that said NPC moves left. If I run the code again, it does say NPC jumps. So that's how random stuff works. Although I'm kind of confused on what this part does, or like these three parts do. I might actually have to ask that to say/chat GPT. Okay, do you know how to do hacks? Honestly, no. That's let's see. But I did want to like go to like be a cybersecurity, but I did change my mind and I wanted to be an AI engineer now. That's let's say something like, let's copy these three parts. Okay, let's go ahead and copy these three parts, paste it here, go with shift entry, see something like, let's say, I don't think that I understood these three blocks of code. What do they do? Question mark. Okay, let's see, because I have like never worked with like functions or like a standard function that consists of like numbers like 19937. Like, what does that even mean? That's it. Let's see. Stop. Good. This is the right moment to pause. You're not confused. You're looking at the engine from the first time. I'm going to explain this slowly, cleanly, with zero magic words, no rushing, no copying. Understand? Or we don't move. Block 1, the seed. Unsigned seed equals to standard chrono steady underscore clock. Since this says steady underscore clock, I'm assuming this is something that works with time, like a delay or something. Should I start machine learning or AI first? If you recommend any course or stuff to study, honestly, I would like say I've like seen people study machine learning, and like I feel like what you call it, machine learning and AI engineering, they're not like too different. That's it. I haven't like worked on that yet. I might actually have to look look into that. That's it. If you do want to start like machine learning or like AI engineering, like what language are you going to do that with? I feel like Python is pretty good. Although I wouldn't like have any recommendations for like courses because like I don't like use courses that much. That's let me drink something. Guys, I feel like today isn't my day for like commentary because like I feel I'm doing awful commentary today. That's it. This line answers one question only. Where does randomness start? Computers do not invent randomness. They generate a sequence of numbers. These seeds decide where in that sequence we begin. Think of a gigantic block of numbers. Page 1, same story every time. Page 9,482,133 different stories. I see. Okay, the seed is the page number. Why time standard chrono steady clock now gives you the current time. Time is always changing, so the start point changes every run. I see same time, same results, different time, different results. That's how we get variations. Block to the engine. ST or standard underscore MT 19,937 engine seed. Okay. This line builds the random number machine. Standard MT19937 is the algorithm. It does not give meaning. It just produces numbers like, oh, I see. By itself, it's useless chaos. Yeah, I'm pretty good at Python. That does sound kind of cool. In that case, like machine learning or like AI engineering would be kind of fun. That's it. Important. The engine remembers its state. Every time you ask it for a number, it advances. Same seed, same sequence forever. This is why seeds are powerful for replaying or for replays and debugging. Block 3, the distribution. Standard uniform integer distribution. Integer dist 0 and 2. I'm assuming 0 and 2 are the coordinates there. Now we finally add rules. This line says from the chaos machine, give me whole numbers between 0 and 2 and treat them all equally. That's it. Nothing mystical. So possible outputs are 0, 1, or 2. Okay. No negatives, no decimals, no surprises outside the range. Okay, honestly, I feel like in Python using the random module was pretty easy compared to this. Honestly, but I feel this is kind of fun as well. How they work together, this is crucial. Seed is the starting point, engine equals endless chaos, distribution equals to rules. Integer value dist, engine translates to human, roll the chaos machine. I'm assuming that's dice machine, but obey these rules. Okay, honestly, I feel like I'm trying to understand what this means. That said, my dist requires okay, numbers between 0. Oh, so this is not like coordinates. It's not like x-axis or y-axis. It's roll a number between 0 and 2. Okay, and then so use the current time and then engine. Okay, this is Mercenary Twister. Is that a pronunciation? Okay, this is kind of. I still don't think that I understand this part. Okay, so unsigned seed standard chrono steady clock. Okay, apparently this gives me the current time right now, and then excuse me guys, standard MT19937 engine seed. Guys, why do I feel, is it just me that I didn't understand this, or like is it just explained too complex? Use randomness meaningfully. If result equals to 0, standard console output. Okay, instead of going with result, I might actually use user input here. So I could go ahead and create a variable up here. I don't know, maybe I create it up here. Let's go ahead and create a standard. Actually, let's go with something like a integer variable of something like result, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, I won't like set it equal to anything. I'm just going to go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Now I'm going to go ahead and, okay, I have an integer result here, DST engine. Maybe I could go ahead and change this to something like input. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do something here. I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know, maybe add something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like roll a dice. Should I roll a dice? I don't know how this actually works. Randomness, I think I understand what this means, but then I don't know how to like phrase it up. Hold on, guys. Let's go with a bunch of Control Z's. So, okay, now if I did Control A, Control C to copy the code, let's go sensei slash ChatGPT up here. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and see something like sensei. I still don't understand what does the actually not what does the random do. Still don't understand how this works. Dot dot dot. Okay, let's see. It could maybe because I'm kind of starving type stuff as well. Okay, so forget C++ for 30 seconds. Imagine this in real life. A shuffle deck cards, okay, the rule that only looks at cards 0, 1, or 2. You draw one card, that's it. That's your program. Now we map each line of code, okay, to that reality. Line 1, the seed, unsigned seed, okay, equals to standard chrono, steady clock, now dot time underscore since epoch dot count. This line does not create randomness. It answers one question: how do we shuffle the deck today? Time is always different, so the shuffle is always different. If you use the same seed every time, the deck would be shuffled the same way every run. I see, so we would like get the same exact results every time. The seed only changes the starting point, nothing else. Line 2, the engine, standard MT19937 engine, seed. This is the shuffle deck, the engine, okay? Okay, the engine, it already contains a huge sequence of numbers. The seed decides where it starts. Every time you use it, it moves forward. The engine does not decide meaning, it just spits numbers. Give me the next number. Okay, line 3, distribution, standard uniform underscore integer underscore distribution that only consists of integers. Go with something like dist. I'm assuming my dist is somewhere up here. I think I create my dist here. That says I only need numbers from 0 to 2. Hey, hiding Drew, I appreciate you joining the stream. Guys, is like what you would call the randomness in C++ or like using the random module in C++ exactly like this, or am I like learning this the wrong way? The engine might produce 8,004, or is it like 8,447,200 or 293,847? 2 or bunch of 9s. The distribution forces it into your allow. Oh, I see. Okay, so the dist stands for distribution. It just says me I limit my numbers to 2, so I don't want a number like 8 billion up there. That's it. This is why this line exists. This line is where magic seems to happen. Integer results equals to dist engine. Read it like this: ask the engine for a number, so dist engine. What was my engine up here? Okay, my engine is my seed, which is the shuffle deck. Okay, and dist engine, dist, and then my shuffle deck. Okay, then force it through the rules of the distribution. Nothing more. One request, one number, one decision. Okay, the if statements is where meaning happens. Result equals to 0. Okay, maybe let's say something like, sensei, can I get another reference code that requires user input as well? Honestly, I want to seek with user input because I don't think this should be as hard as it's like looking like right now. I think there's just like a few functions that I need to understand how it works. That said, good, that question means the gears are finally turning. This is the right next step. I'm giving you a reference code, not to copy paste type stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy this up here. Go with Control A, Control V to paste this. Now, I want to see how does it work with user inputs. And thinking of the really important part here, we still do have these 3 main lines here. Only thing that is different is like a integer of choice variable. Okay, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Now, in my console, it says something like enter a number. So let's go ahead. 1 to attack, 2 to defend. I'm gonna go with something like 1. It says attack failed. Okay, I actually think I'm trying to understand what this means. So, first I add a standard console output, and then I get a standard console input, and then seed using time. So I create a unsigned seeds as variable. And what does the unsigned actually mean? I gotta like check that up. Equals to standard chrono. I'm assuming chrono is like chronological order. Steady clock. Okay, so my clock is gonna be ticking every single time from when my program runs. I'm assuming the now means from when my program runs. Time underscore since epoch. What does this do? Okay, let's search it online. Guys, nothing happens when I like go ahead and click search online type stuff. That's it, and then I go count. So I'm assuming my count says like my clock is ticking every single second. And then I go with something like random engine. I use the standard MT19937 and then create a engines is I'm assuming local variable representing it, okay, which does require a parameter of my seed. I'm assuming my seed is my time here. And then random number between 1 and 100. So I go with the standard uniform integer distribution, which only consists of integers. I create a distributions is this a local variable? Okay, it is a local variable, which requires a parameter from between 1 to 100. So it does not create like numbers in billions. Okay, and then I go with something like a integer of role variable, which is equal to my dist and my engine. So my distribution and my engine. I'm trying to see how this actually works. And then I go with something like an if statement. So if my choice equals to 1, if my role is greater than 50, I go with a standard console output. Attack success, else I go with a standard console output which says something like attack failed. Okay, else if it's 2, roll is greater than 30, defense success, defense failed, else invalid choice. Okay, I actually think I understand what this means. I might want to write this on my own now, but it's just like these functions that's a bit hard to memorize. So I go with standard chrono, steady clock. Okay, so I go with standard chrono, steady clock. Now, dot the time underscore since underscore epoch dot count. Okay, so this is a function, but the standard chrono steady underscore clock that now is one function. I see. And then I go with an engine. So I gotta increase IO stream, include random and include chrono. If I were to go with something like control A, delete everything. Now, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Let's say I want to include something like IO stream. And then let me go ahead and include something like, I don't know, maybe random. Because I do want to like work with randomness here. And then let's go ahead and include chrono as well, which I'm assuming is still considered as chronological order. There we go. Is that spell chrono? Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and create a main function. Now my main function is going to be consisting of two variables. The first variable is going to be an integer of argc. The second variable is going to be a character, which is a pointer towards an array of argv. And then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my main function, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, let me go ahead and I don't know, maybe I'm not going to be initializing anything here, so I could go ahead and create a integer variable of something like choice, ending with a semicolon. This is going to be my player's choice. And then let's go with something like, I don't know, maybe a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a number to attack or defend. Okay, when I go with something like to attack, I might actually add a pair of parentheses that say something like 1 to attack, and defend is like 2 to defend. Okay, then I'm going to go with something like a colon and space just for it to look good. And then I'm going to maybe go with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead. Okay, I don't think I might need an end line here because I will be using a standard console input. So I might go with something like a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to go ahead and extract my choices variable. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Speaking of which, I feel like I should go ahead and add this inside my main loop. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like main loop. Now my main loop is going to be requiring a variable. The variable is going to be a boolean variable of is running, which is initially going to be set to true. And then I go with something like a while loop, and let's type something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true. I want to ask my user to enter a choice. There we go. Okay. And then maybe I go ahead and just eat something real quick. Mm. Alright, now for the trickier part. I gotta go ahead and create a seed variable. So, was it something like an integer of seed, which is going to be equal? Actually, I think it was unsigned seed, so I'm going to go with something like unsigned seed, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe let's type something like, so let's see. So my unsigned seed is going to be equal to standard chrono. I'm assuming it's something like chrono. Okay, let's go with something like chrono. And then I'm going to go with another, actually I'm going to go with 2 more colons and type something like, I forgot this part. Was it something like clock? What up, guys? Okay, why is your Git still empty? Honestly, I did not have time to actually learn how to use GitHub. I might actually like learn how to use GitHub, honestly, because it feels like GitHub is like really fun. Okay, so standard chrono steady clock duration, standard chrono steady clock time point. Okay, what does it mean? So time since epoch is a member function of standard chrono time point. Okay, for standard, hold up guys, let me just zoom out. There we go. For a standard chrono steady clock time point, it returns the new duration, okay, between the stored time point and the clock's epoch. What does epoch mean? The clock's 0 reference point to the Unix epoch. For steady clock, the epoch is unspecified fixed point in time, often when the program or system, it is monadic. Is that how you pronounce it? It never goes backwards. Let me actually ask something like epoch meaning. Okay, so what's the meaning of epoch? A period of time in history or a person's life, typically one marked by notable events or particular characteristics. I did not understand what that means. That said, I feel like there's a lot of practice off stream for this, guys. So I go with something like a standard chrono with steady clock, and then I go with something like now, then I go with something like time since epoch. So standard chrono, and then I go with something like steady clock. So I'm gonna go with something like steady clock. So there we go. So steady underscore clock. Okay, then I go with another 2 colons. Okay, let's see. Guys, why is the function name so hard? It shouldn't be like as hard as it is. Okay, so standard chrono, steady underscore clock, and now. So I gotta go with standard chrono, steady underscore clock. Now dot the time since epoch dot count. Okay, so I go with something like steady underscore clock. Now, okay, so this is my function name. Dot the time underscore since underscore epoch dot the count. Did I spell epoch correct? Hold up, guys, let's see. So it's epoch, time underscore since underscore epoch. So time since epoch constant, a pointer to a bounce function may be used to call this function. Okay, guys, am I like, did I spell something wrong? Yo, with hiding Gen V Nano, it's been like so long. I appreciate you joining the stream. That's let's see. So time since epoch is like a function. Okay, so time since epoch. Oh, I did not add a pair of parentheses for my function here. There we go, and then I end this with a semicolon. Okay, let's see. Did I go ahead and eat something because I am kind of starving? Okay, once I'm done with this, let's see. Let's go with something like maybe an engine now. So I'm going to go with something like a standard 199. Was it 37? Hold up, guys. Why are these function names so complex? So it's MT19937. So it's standard MT19937. It is going to be called something like engine with a pair of parentheses. Does my... Okay. Oh, I see. So this engine is a function which requires a parameter of something like maybe 1... Actually, 0 to 2. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. Did I do this part correct? Or I think this should be seed here. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done with this, guys, this part is really complex. Like, when you guys are actually like, worked with like randomness, did you guys have to like learn these things? Okay, but actually speaking of which, I don't think it should be really tough. The seed is to have a random roll every single time and standard MT19937 engine, which requires a parameter of seed. What does this part do? Okay, isn't there like a way to check what this part actually does? Okay, so it has memory layout. What if I go to memory layout? Alright guys, this is actually kind of massive. That's it, let me just go ahead and exit this for the time being. I'm actually going to check what this part actually does. That's it, let's get some ChatGPT up here again. Now, once I'm done with this part, random number between 1 and 100. So I go ahead and use the standard uniform underscore integer underscore distribution, and I'm assuming this is not a function because this requires a pair of ankle braces. This is something like a vector. Although it is not a vector, so I gotta go with standard uniform integer distribution that only consists of integers. My distribution is going to be from between 1 to 100. Then I create a roll variable, a integer roll variable, which has a distribution of my engine. That is my seed as well. Distribution of my engine, which is my seed. Okay, I see these dots connecting, but guys, it's actually flying all over my head. Hold up, guys. Let's go one step at a time. So I'm gonna go with something like a standard. Let's go with something like uniform underscore integer underscore distribution. There we go. With a pair of ankle braces. And now my distribution only consists of integers. I'm gonna call it something like dist, which only consists of numbers from between 1 to 100, ending with a semicolon. Excuse me, guys. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I gotta create a integer of roll variable, which is gonna be equal to let's see, maybe I go with something like my engine. Okay, actually I don't gotta go with engine. I think I gotta go with something like my dist, which consists of a parameter of my engine, ending with a semicolon. Now, it says this is a local variable of dist, so these are not engines apparently, standard MT19937. Okay, the seed is to get some random results, usually used in game example Minecraft to get same results. For a new seed, it will be different values. Oh, I see, that actually makes sense. Okay, it's like, I feel like I understand the logic now. It's just the layout and the function names that's kind of tricky. But I don't think that's going to be that hard to understand. That's it. Now, once I'm done creating a role, I think I can take over from here. I'm going to go with something like an if statement to check something. Let's check if my role... Okay, actually, I'm going to check if my choice, let's say something like if my choice is equal to... Already mic testing, mic testing. Guys, my OBS crashed for some reason. That's there we go. Okay, let me check if everything's going good. So, okay, perfect. That's it. Let's see. So if my choice equals to 1, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. A pair of ankle braces is used in generic data types. I see. Okay, that's it. So if my choice is 1, then I'm gonna check something. If my roll if my random roll, which a random roll I did, was greater than something like 50, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that is gonna say something like attack success. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Let me go with something like else. I'm gonna go with an else clause with a pair of parentheses and check something like if my role is... actually, I'll go with let's say pair of curly braces. Let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like attack failed. Okay, so if my role is greater than 50, attack success, else attack failed. With another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this if statement, I'm going to go ahead and add a else, maybe another if statement that checks something like if my choice, let's go with something like if my choice is equal to, I'm going to go with something like 2. If my choice is 2, then I'm going to do something. I'm gonna add another if statement to check something like if my roll is greater than something like 50. I'm gonna go with the prof curly braces and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like defense success. Okay, with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Else, I'm gonna do something else. Let's go with something like else. A prof curly braces. I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like defense. Let's say something like failed with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside my while loop and return 0, saying everything went good here. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my console here. I won't be getting my window here, it's just my console. So it's good. It says something like enter 1 to attack or 2 to defend. I'm gonna go with something like 1. It says something like attack failed. I'm gonna go with 1 again. Attack success, attack success, attack success, success, attack failed. Okay, so it is random. There we go. Okay, bros, scam hacking, guys. Scam hacking is kind of crazy. That's okay. It did work. I do understand the gist of what this part actually does. Okay, my engine is my seed. My engine requires a parameter of my seed. I did not understand this part though. Let's go ahead and copy this part real quick. Get sensei/chatgpt up here real quick. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and paste this. Go with shift enter and say something like sensei. I feel like I understand this code, but there's one part that I did not understand. What does this block of code mean? Question mark. Okay, so when I created my distance local variable, I set it equal to 1 and 100. Okay, I had dist, so I had dist and then a engine. Okay, where are you from, bro? I used to understand much, but these days I didn't like avoid saying that for like safety reasons. That said, and when I created a engine's local variable, let's go with something like variable, I set that equal to be, let's say something like, I set my engine's local variable to require the parameter. Let's go with something like the parameter of, I don't know, maybe something like seed. Then why when I created a roles variable, I added my engine, or I added my engine to be in the place where I required a seeds parameter, if that made any sense. ... Now let's go ahead and paste this here. There we go, guys. This part actually confused me really hard. So good, this question is exactly where most people pretend they understand and move on. That means you're actually learning now. Sit still, I'm gonna snap this into place. The confusion, let me say it cleanly. You're thinking, I already gave numbers 1 to 100 to this. I already gave seed to engine. Why am I passing engine into this? Perfect question. The core truth, no metaphors yet. Dist is not a number. I thought that this was in charge of keeping my numbers from 0 to 100. Engine is not a number either. They both are objects with roles. What dist actually is? Standard uniform integer distribution. This does not generate a number. It only stores that. Oh, I see. Minimum value 1, maximum value 100. Rules for mapping chaos range. Think of this as a filter, not a generator. By itself, this can do nothing. What engine actually is? Standard MT19937 engine seed. This does not generate a useful number either. It only holds an internal state, knows how to produce raw random bits, advances each time it's used. By itself, engine produces meaningless raw chaos. Now the key line, integer vol dist engine. Okay, this line means hey distribution, ask the engine for randomness. Okay, then ask the engine for randomness, then shape that randomness to your rules. Why engine goes here, not in the seed? The engine is already inside the the seed is already inside the engine. Okay, so my seed is already inside my engine. Okay, you selected the engine once again. After that, the engine remembers everything. Okay, so my engine, I'm assuming, has a track of my time now. The seed is no longer needed. The engine moves forward internally, passing the seed. Passing the seed again would make no sense. Function style thinking important. So a dist engine, this line is calling a function. It's like cook ingredients. You don't pass the recipe again, you pass the ingredients. I think I actually see that actually does make sense, guys. I'm like, I have like fruits here. Like, I'm getting like a lot of food flies out here. Let me just move them off. Okay, maybe just shout out real quick. Okay, this separation allows same engine, different distribution, same distribution, different engines, reproducible randomness, controlled randomness. Then let's see. Example, conceptually, one engine, one distribution for movement, one distribution for cooldowns, one distribution for loots. Actually, I think I see how this works, guys. Now, the question is, can I actually try implementing this with like SDL? Hey, wait, why don't you block these people that keep saying scam and redeem? Guys, I think they're like kind of... Okay, if it's this, like, what you may call it. I was like, it does get kind of funny if like they keep repeating all that stuff also. But if it does bother you guys could like tell me. I could like, what you may call it, time them out. Hey, where are you from? Honestly, I used to, what you may call it, answer much, but these days I don't like avoid saying that for safety reasons. That's it, let's see. So I go with standard chrono, steady clock now, dot time since epoch, dot count. And then I create an engine, I create a uniform of my disk, which is a container of how many numbers can actually exist. Then in my role, only 1 to 100 numbers can exist. And my engine, which is technically, what you may call it, a series of a lot of numbers. I think I see how this works, guys. Now, if I were to go with something like control and delete everything, let's what happens. Let's see what happens. Alright, guys, let's not be real toxic. Okay, let's go ahead and put a timeout for, I think, a minute. That should be good. And maybe I drink something real quick. But you read out the comments. Honestly, I don't read out the comments that says, how did you redeem it? Or like, what should I call it? Did you redeem it type stuff. I just read out the good comments. That's it. Now, let me go ahead and start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Let's go ahead and include something like IO stream. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and include, let's say something like, I don't know, maybe random, because I will be using randomness here. And then lastly, let's go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. Let's say I want to include chrono, which is technically chronological order. Now, let me go ahead and, create a main function. So I'm going to go with something like integer main, which consists of two parameters. The first parameter is going to be an integer of something like argc. The second parameter is going to be a character towards an array of argv. What are you doing? Honestly, today I am like working with the random module in like SDL3. Actually, not SDL3. I haven't like started that yet, but I'm learning on how randomness works in C++, like generating numbers, rolling dice, and all that stuff. That's it. I was done with like AI-based text logic last stream and some this stream as well because I left like an incomplete code for today's stream. That said, now inside my main function, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know, maybe create an integer variable of something like, maybe I'll go with something like choice, which asks my user to like pick a random choice ending with a semicolon. Then I go with something like a standard console output. And hold on, guys, I gotta like make sure there aren't like much food flies here. Maybe I gotta like complete my breakfast real quick. Okay, so I asked my user to pick a number from 0 to 3. And I'm actually assuming this is going to be inside my main loop. So I'm going to go ahead and create a boolean variable of something like is running, which is initially going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm going to go with something like while a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true. I'm going to go ahead and copy this part. and paste it here. Now inside my is running, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator that extracts my choice ending with a semicolon. Guys, did I like spell something wrong here? So I go with something like a standard console input. Okay, let's go ahead and indent this part. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and create a unsigned. Okay, unsigned variable of seed. Is this called variable? Okay, so it's unsigned integer of seed local variable not initialized. I see. Which is gonna be equal to, let's go with something like standard. Okay, I already forgot what the function was here. So I think it's going to be something like a standard. Let's see. Guys, hold up. Let me actually get some C/ChatGPT up here. I think I forgot the function name already, guys. Okay, so it's let me scroll all the way up here. Okay, so it's standard chrono steady clock now. I keep forgetting that it's too long, so I'm gonna go with something like standard chrono. Let's go with something like steady underscore now, or should I go with something like standard chrono steady underscore now? Okay, standard chrono. I think I spelled steady wrong. What if I go with like something like shift space? Let's go with something like steady clock. There we go, with another insertion operator of something like the now function. Excuse me, guys. Okay, dot. Let's see, what are the other functions? Time since epoch. Okay, that is here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of parentheses to invoke the function. Dot the count function. Let's go with something like count with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Guys, I feel this function is like massive. Can I like maybe decrease something from here? I don't think so. I think like this is as big as it gets. Okay, it's like a pretty long function. That said, once I'm done with creating my seed, I'm gonna go ahead and create an engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and add something like a standard MT19937. Okay, which is going to be having a engine's local variable representing it. That is going to be requiring a parameter of my seed, which is technically my time. So my engine is not always the same, like it doesn't start rolling from the same exact place. That said, maybe let me go ahead and eat something. Alright, once I'm done with that, let's see the next thing. So, maybe once I'm done creating my engine, I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard uniform underscore integer underscore distribution. So I'm gonna go with something like distribution, okay, with a pair of anchor braces. Now, my uniform underscore int underscore distribution is only going to be consisting of integers, which is going to be represented by a dist's local variable, which only consists of numbers from 1 to 100. Ending with a semicolon. Now I'm gonna go ahead and create a integer of roll variable, which is gonna be equal to, let's go with something like my dist. This is the cap of my numbers, minimum 1, maximum 100, and then I want to generate a lot of numbers from here. So I'm gonna be adding my engine's local variable here. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so now my numbers won't be anything higher than 100 or less than 0. Actually, less than 1. Once I'm done with this, I just gotta use my basic if statement now. So I'm gonna go with something like, maybe I want to use switch here. Okay, stop, love your consistency, always drop in my feed. Honestly, that does make a lot of sense. I appreciate your anonymous, actually means the world to me, guys. Next up, I'm gonna add something like an if statement. Let's type something like if my choice. I'm gonna type something like if my choice is equal to something like 1, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces and add maybe something like a switch. I want to use a switch now. I'm gonna go ahead and type something like roll. Fun fact, you can manually set seed if you want. Deterministic randomness as the function is basically using current time as seed for total randomness used in level generators and other stuff like that. Actually does sound kind of fun. I could like actually manually set my seed as well, but I do gotta like figure out how to do that stuff. That said, so if my roll is seed, I'm gonna add a case. The first case is gonna check if my roll is something like greater than. I might go with something like 50 if my roll is greater than 50. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Wait, can I like not add my roll greater than 50? So if my roll greater than 50, okay, should I go with something like isn't this like how we actually add cases? Wait, my parameter here might need something like choice. Let's go with something like choice. Okay, so switch is choice. Okay guys, I think I how do we use switches here? I might actually have to like look into that. That's it. I'm going to be adding if statement for the time being in that case. I'm going to check if my roll is something like greater than 50. Then I'm going to do something. I could use switches for this, but how did I use switch? How are you doing, me, bro? I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. So if my roll is greater than 50, I'm going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like attacked exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another if statement here. Actually, instead of if, I'll go with something like an else clause that has something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like attack fails. Okay, with a parentheses ending with a semicolon. My bad guys, not with a parentheses, I meant a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next I'm gonna go with something like if my choice equals to equal to something like 2. If my choice is equal to 2 and if my roll is greater than 50, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like defended. There we go, with an exclamation, and then I'm gonna add a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like an else clause now. Let's go with something like else, a pair of curly braces. I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like defense failed. So we have a 50-50 chance for like attack or defense. Okay, maybe I go ahead and return 0 now because I feel this is like pretty much it. And after this, should I actually like try using this in like try using randomness in like SDL3? I might need a few PNGs for that. I'm gonna go ahead and type something like 1 attack failed once, attack 2 defense failed. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with something like 2 again. Defense fails. Let's go with 2 again. Defended. Okay, it does work. What if I type something like hi? What up guys, what is that? Okay, just like spam something if I said hi, so I might have to add like an else clause for that stuff. That said, I mean, I feel like I do get it. The only part that is a bit hard is my standard chrono steady clock. Now, dot time since epoch types of the function names, but I feel like I just gotta like memorize these function names and I'm gonna be pretty good. Okay, now I think it's about time that I do like an instruction-based question because I actually do want like do an instruction-based question. Let me say something like say I see ... Can I get a instructional? Alright up guys, let's go with something like a instructional based question to write now. Okay, Code was wondering what the hell is this guy. That actually does make sense. Okay, we can do comparison and switch, only equality checks. Oh, couldn't we? I actually didn't know that. That does sound kind of cool though. Okay, alright people, time to put that brain to work. Here's your instructional challenge task. Write a C++ program that simulates a dice game with 2 dices. Requirements: ask the user to enter how many times they want to roll the dice. Okay, each dice should generate a number from 1 to 6 using standard MT19937 and standard uniform integer distribution. After each roll, print the result of both dices and their sums, and then print how many times was the sum 7. Okay, that's not gonna be as hard, I feel like. Excuse me guys, maybe let me eat something real quick. Okay, so first let me delete everything and start off by including IO stream. Next up, let's go ahead and include the random module. And thirdly, let's go ahead and include the chronological library. So I'm going to go with something like chrono. And now inside my main functions, I'm going to go ahead and create a main function that does require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be an integer of argc. The second parameter is going to be a character, which is going to be an array towards, which is going to be a pointer towards an array of argv. And then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside my main function, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like main loop. Now for my main loop, I'm going to have a boolean variable of something like is running, which is initially going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. Now I go ahead and create my actual main loop. So I'm going to type something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true. I'm going to go ahead and do something. Maybe I want to drink some banana milkshake first. I should honestly make that more. It actually does taste kind of good. Okay, and then eat some apples too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a choice variable, then add a standard console output that says something like and or actually let me say something like click throw, or actually click 1 2 throw. Okay, and then I go with something like an ending this with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator, which extracts my choice variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead, and this is the confusing part, so I'm going to go ahead and add a unsigned seed. I'm going to create a unsigned seeds as variable, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like a standard. I'm going to go with something like chrono. Let's say standard chrono, okay, and then I'm going to go with something like steady underscore time. Was it steady underscore time, guys? I think it was steady underscore time. Okay, wait, I think it's wrong. Did I spell steady correct? S-T-E-D-Y. Hold up, guys, I think it's kind of choice needs to be enum. Actually, that does make sense. I might actually do that. Okay, maybe I could go ahead and change my choice to be a enum. Let's go with something like enum of choice, which is going to be equal to, I might go with, I mean, I feel like both would honestly be the same thing. I mean, I could go ahead and create something like an enum because it's honestly the exact same thing. Let's go with something like a choice. So there we go. Okay, and then my options are going to be something like 1 2 3. I mean, I could like go ahead and add this to be as an enum, but do I want to? Because I am going to be using a uniform, this thing, what you call it, a uniform integer distribution, so where I am going to be like limiting my numbers from exceeding beyond 1 to 6, if that makes any sense. Although for the time being, I did forget what the steady time is going to be. So it's steady clock, so I got to go ahead and go with something like standard chrono, steady clock, and then let's go ahead and add something like, was it distribution time? It's not now, it might be duration. I think duration is wrong. How do I keep forgetting this part? So standard chrono, steady clock, and then I know I need it now, but before now, did I need something else? Hold on, guys. Let's get sensei/chatgpt up here. Why you just do why you just do using namespace std so you don't have to use standard every time? Honestly, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because eventually in bigger projects, not prefixing with standard can like cause name conflicts. So it is like not recommended any good practice to like avoid using standard using namespace std. Excuse me, guys. Oh, I did have to just go with now. There is no other function before it. Okay, explain when you shall use integer and when enum. Honestly, I feel like the only time we actually use enum is when we're trying to like for example, if we let's say have a bunch of moods like angry, mad, happy, sad, we have those moods, then later we check depending on a certain mood, what do we want to like do. Like if my mood is angry, I want to go ahead and display certain amount of text. Although when it comes with like not using enums and I'm using an integer of and integer of choice here. This means my user is gonna enter either 1, 2, 3, 4, or actually my user will only be entering 1 to like throw a dice. Unless I could have used the enum if I like set my numbers there, but I will be using my I think it was called the uniform integer distribution to like cap my numbers. So whatever number my engine generates is either going to be from 1 to 6, and later I just go ahead and add those numbers. I gotta get back to my IT project. Honestly, good luck with your IT project, Sinfully. I appreciate you seeing through the stream. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like a now function dot something like time since epoch. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the time since epoch function with a pair of parentheses dot the count function. In case you guys couldn't see it, it's like right here, ending with a semicolon. Now the thing that I was talking about before about the game engine, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a standard empty 19937. That is my engine that generates a sequence of numbers, but I do gotta like limit my number to be my seed. Actually, I won't be limiting my number just yet. I'm gonna end this with a semicolon. So every iteration of my loop, when I iterate a number, it keeps changing because of my seeds, because my time always changes. So depending on my time, my number won't be generated from that exact same time frame. It's going to be generated separately. So this generates any number, but the number could be in billions. So I gotta go ahead and create a standard uniform. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with something like underscore int underscore distribution. Okay, which only consists of, let's say, something like integers. I am going to be calling my distribution something like this, which is only going to be consisting of numbers from 1 to 6. So the minimum number that my engine here can generate is 1. The maximum it can generate is 6. So I'm not going to be going towards billions. Okay, maybe let me go ahead and eat something. Okay, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create a integer of roll variable, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like my dist with a pair of parentheses that does have my engineer. So my dist is going to be generating random numbers which changes every single iteration of my frame, so it's never going to be the same number, and it's only between 1 to 6, ending with a semicolon. Guys, remember back when I said I was actually trying to figure out like where the dots are actually linking? I think I actually figured that part out. I actually understand what these things actually mean now. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and add a if statement. So I'm gonna go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Now, inside my if statement, I want to go ahead and do something. So I'm gonna check something like if my roll is something like greater than, I might go with something like okay, wait, when my user actually throws a roll, I want to do something. Let's say something like while my roll maybe I go ahead and store my rolls in a vector, or like, yeah, I think I gotta like store them in a vector because I do want to actually add my vectors up once my user types something like exit or something. So since I will be using vectors, let me go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. Let's say I want to include vector. Now I'm going to be creating, let's say, something like a standard vector which only consists of, let's go with something like integers. I'm going to call it something like rolls, ending with a semicolon. Now when I type something like 1, whatever roll my integer roll is, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go ahead and do something like my rolls dot the push to underscore back function. I want to go ahead and push back my rolls. Is it called rolls? I want to go ahead and push back my roll. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add a if statement to check something. I'm gonna check if my choice variable is equal to something like 2. Then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna use a index-based for loop to iterate over my vector of rolls. So I'm gonna go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than my rolls dot size, while my I is less than my rolls as vector, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and increment my I by 1 and then add a pair of curly braces. Maybe after removing this plus from there. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and do something here. I want to go ahead and add all my roles inside of my vector. So I'm gonna go with something like roles at index. Okay, how many roles are there? So maybe I go ahead and create a total variable as well. So I could go ahead and create a integer of total. So there we go, which is initially going to be 0, ending with a semicolon. Now I'm going to say something like my total variable is going to go ahead and increase by my roles at index of I, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then once I'm done with all this, I might go with something like should I go with like one standard console output up here maybe? Let's see. Okay, maybe I go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like your total is, let's go with another insertion operator. So your total is, okay, and then I add another insertion operator. So maybe let me delete this extra space from here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my totals as variable with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I could go ahead and return 0. Okay, wait, did I like exit outside of my... There. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. Now, I could go ahead and say something here, so it's like click 1 to throw. I do want to say something like, and let's go with something like 2 to exit. Click 1 to throw and 2 to exit. I want to go ahead and add an if statement here. So once I add my for loop here, I want to set my is running. Let's go with something like my is running boolean variable to be equal to false, ending with a semicolon. Maybe I do want to add my console output inside my if statement. There we go. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. My console says click 1 to throw, 2 to exit. I'm going to go with something like 1. Click 1 to throw, 2 to exit, 1. If I would hit 2, your total is 14. I want to actually display myself what I actually chose. So let's add an if statement here. So I'm going to go with something like if a pair of parentheses. If my choice is equal to 1, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and eat something because I'm kind of starving. I want to go ahead and display my role. Okay, I'm going to say something like you rolled with another insertion operator. Let's go with something like, I don't know, maybe... Okay, I rolled my roll with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Did I spell end line wrong? I got out like 2 colons here. There we go. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code again and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. In my console, it says click 1 to throw, 2 to exit. I'm gonna go with something like 1. You rolled 1. You rolled 5. You rolled 5 again. I rolled 3. I rolled 2. I rolled 3. I rolled 3. I rolled 1. I'm bored. I'm gonna hit 2. Your total is 26. So 1 plus 2 is 6. Plus 5 is 11. Plus 5 is 14. Plus 5 is 16. Plus 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Guys, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I'm assuming I rolled like... Alright guys, I feel that is kind of complex. It's kind of complicating to like actually do the math in my head. Okay, that's it. I'll go with something like Control C, copy that. Let's get Sensei slash GP here. Let's go ahead and paste it. Go shift enter, say something like Sensei. I wrote this exclamation. Okay, I mean it looks kind of basic, but I want to use like use it with like PMG, so I might use it in SDL3 like next stream. Okay, what the hell is this, people? You tried, but you're wasting the power of randomness. Like a baby throwing shiny starts into a muddy puddle. Guys, why are the apples so chewy? Okay. RPing with ChatGPT. RPing? Honestly, what does RPing mean? Okay, which random function did he use? Actually, I don't think I use function. I use the MT19937's engine to like generate numbers, and then I use the uniform integer distribution to like set my numbers to be 1 max, 1 minimum, and 6 maximum. Then I created a seed as well, which was equal to the standard chronological steady underscore clock. Now this function dot the type since epoch and dot count. I still don't understand what does the function completely mean, like every single part, but I do know what it does. Okay, why is ChatGPT acting? Guys, I feel ChatGPT slash Sensei. Okay, RPing means role playing. I see. Okay, that's it. Listen carefully. You only rolled 1 die. The task was 2 dice. That means 2 random numbers per roll, not 1. You're seeding the engine every loop iteration. This is bad. You want random numbers to look more like a broken slot machine than real randomness. Seed once before the loop. You're storing every roll in a vector and summing at the end. Okay, fine, but you never counted how many times the sum was 7. That was literally the part of the task. Okay, I see. Seed once outside, roll 2 dice each iteration, print both dice and their sum immediately. Okay, keep a counter of sum equals to 7. I see. Okay, hi doing Ayrton. I appreciate you joining the stream. Let's see. I honestly might go with something like integer main, argc, character. Firstly, get my seed outside my loop. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this outside my while loop. Secondly, I gotta roll 2 dices at the same time. So when I go ahead and roll, this is gonna be something like integer of dice 1 roll. So I could go with something like dice underscore 1 underscore roll. I might copy that, paste it here. Do I need that somewhere else? Let's go ahead and paste this here as well. Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna go with something like a integer of dice. Excuse me, roll dice 2 roll, which is going to be equal to a dist of my engine, ending with a semicolon. Now I go with something like rolls dot push underscore back dice 1 roll, and then should I create 2 vectors for this? I don't think I might need that. Wouldn't that be like overkill? Let's go with something like dice underscore 1, okay, underscore rolls. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this vector. Let's go ahead and paste it here. This is gonna be something like dice 2 rolls. So I'm gonna go with something like dice underscore 2 rolls. There we go. And then I'm gonna go with, let's go ahead and paste dice 1 roll here. Alright guys, let's copy that, go with Control Z. Let's go ahead and paste that here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paste dice 1 rolls again, but I'm gonna change the 1 to 2. Dot the push underscore back function. Let's say I wanna go ahead and push back my dice underscore 2 underscore rolls, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's actually perfect. This is the dice 2 rolls. This is rolls dot size. This might be something like my dice 1 roll, and then this might be my dice 1 roll. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and check if my choice equals to 1. You roll this, and then I'm gonna go ahead, let's say something like dice 1. Dice 1 rolled this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator. Maybe let's go a line down. There we go. I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, that says something like dice 2 rolled. Let's go with another insertion operator of something like dice underscore 2 underscore roll with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Now, can I not use the dot push back here? I'm very sure I could use it. This is going to be something like roll. Okay, sassy boy. Guys, sassy boy is kind of crazy. That's it. Try competitive programming. I do actually want to try that, but before I do go over to like competitive programming, I do want to like get my basics down. Like I want to get kind of good with my basics type stuff, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and change this to be dice 2 roll, and this is going to be a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done with this, let's see what is something else that I might need. I have two engines, I have two vectors, two pushbacks, two of these. Okay, then when I click 2, this is going to be my total for dice 1. Let's go ahead and change this something like dice 1 total. Let's go with something like dice 1 total is this thing. Okay, do I want to create 2 totals? Well, maybe I go ahead and copy this part again. Okay, and then let's go ahead and paste this here. Do I need 2 totals? I might go with something like dice underscore 1 underscore total. Guys, is this like necessity to like add 2 variables for all this stuff? I feel like 1 variable could do the job easily as well. Let's go ahead and remove the 1 from here and change the 1 to something like 2. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. This is dice 1 total, dice 1 total. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that part. Let's go ahead and remove this part as well. Plus equals to my dice 1 volts. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the integer from here. Let's go ahead and remove the integer from here as well. There we go, that should do the trick. Now I'm gonna copy my dice 1 roll. Let's go ahead. Whoops, let's go with Control Z. Copy my dice 1 roll. Let's go ahead and paste it here and paste it here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change 1 to 2 here and 1 to 2 here as well. Now, this should give me my dice 2 rolls as well. So, let's see. Now, do I want to hit Control to save the code? So, this is going to be dice 1 roll. I'm going to change that to something like dice 2 rolls. Let's go with something like dice 2 rolls. Okay, is the vector like lowercase too? I think I didn't camel case it, guys. I mean, that's fine. If I hit Control to save the code and run the command, let's see who wins, dice 1 or dice 2. I get my console here. Now, if I were to type something like 1, it says dice 1 roll 3, dice 2 roll 5. Dice 1 is winning so far. If I were to hit 1 again, dice 2 is still winning. How are they throwing the exact same numbers every single time? Okay guys, there's no way that was a tie up there. I think I gotta like change something real quick here. Maybe I need 2 distributions. 1 dist is kind of fine. Okay, maybe I go with something like dice underscore 1 dist. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and paste it here. And paste that here as well. I'm going to go ahead and copy this entire function. Whoops. Let's go ahead and copy that. Paste it here. Change dice 1 dist to be something like dice 2 dist. Copy that. Let's go ahead and paste that here. Okay, this should actually work now. Okay, so I have 2 dices. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. In my console, they ask me to throw something 1. Why is it always the same exact number? Am I missing something here? It could be. My seed is outside my vector. Should I get my engine outside my vector as well? Because I just have 1 engine. Maybe I copy my engine. Let's go ahead and get my engine outside my vector as well. I don't think my engine should be outside my vector. Okay, if I were to save the code and run the command again, let's see what happens. I get my console here. Let's go with something like 1. Oh, getting my engine outside did actually do the trick. Let's go with something like 2. Guys, is this just by chance coincidence that my total was exactly the same as last time? Let me run the code again. There's no way my total was exactly the same as last time. Let's go with 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Am I like totaling something wrong here? Hold up, guys. So if my choice is 2, I go with something like a for loop for every integer of I which equals to 0. This is okay. Dice 1 plus equals to volts. Oh, I gotta change it to something like 2. There we go, no wonder. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command. This time, guys, I'm very confident this is gonna work. Let's go with something like 1, 1, 1. Okay, if I hit something like 2. How are they the same every single time? Did I not hit Control S? I hit Control S. But that is dice 2 at index of I, okay? And then is running is going to be set to false. Maybe let's remove the is running from here for the time being, because that just exits my entire vector. Maybe what if I actually, this is a for loop. Maybe what if I go with something like dice underscore 2. Let's go with something like dice underscore 2. Underscore total. Let's go with something like total. I'm gonna go ahead and increase that by my dice underscore 2. underscore, let's say something like rolls. So let's go with something like dice2 underscore rolls at index of I, ending with a semicolon. Now I would not need this entire statement from here. So there we go. Okay, and then I go ahead and add a standard console output for my dice1. Let's paste my dice1's as console output and change this to be something like dice2. Okay, this is going to work now. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here. In my console, let's type something like 1, 6, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4. Okay, if I hit something like 2, how are both the numbers exactly the same here? That honestly does not make any sense. Dice1 dot total. So wait, by any chance, I actually want to like add them up myself. Let me just add like two numbers here. Let's go with something like 1 and 2. If I added 2 here, both are 9. 1 plus 3 should give me 4, 5, 6, 7. Guys, from where did 9 even come in the equation? Maybe I go with something like Control C, copy that, get some say slash chat GPT here. Let's go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter and say something like, Sensei, I feel like I messed up, question mark. Okay, my output for my total is always the same for both dice1 and dice2. Okay, let's see. Finally, you're starting to think, people, but you still slipped on a banana peel. Look at this line carefully. Standard console output, dice1, you see the problem? You printed dice1 again instead of dice2. There is no way I printed dice1 twice. What do you know, guys? I always have silly mistakes here. I could have sworn that I've seen dice2 here. How did it become dice1? Maybe because I didn't see it properly. Let's hit Control S to save the code again and run the command and see what happens. Let's go with something like 1, 1. If I did something like 2, now it changes. Okay, perfect. And then I just gotta set my is running to be false. I'm gonna go with something like my is running boolean variable to be equal to false, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and now that's actually pretty much it for this. Let me go ahead and now add a if check to check if my count is greater than 7. I mean, I don't think I gotta like actually do that. This seems like much more cooler. Okay, I guess what if I let's say I delete one uniform from here. Let's change this to something like DST or DIST. I'm gonna go ahead and copy my dist. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Paste it here. Okay. Do I need, okay, I do need two vectors. If I hit Control S to save the code again and run the command and see what happens. I get my console here. Let's type something like 1, 1, 1. Let's go ahead and hit something like 2, 18 and 20. Okay. Alright guys, I think that was like pretty much it. You still live, my guy. Guys, actually it does make sense. Although I was planning to like end my stream as well because I am kind of exhausted today for some reason. Guys, today when I started my stream, I was like, really? I was like, today is not my day. What's your GitHub? Honestly, my GitHub's link is in my bio. Although I haven't like uploaded anything in my GitHub because I did not like actually learn on how to use GitHub. That since I don't have my college right now, I have more time to learn it. I might actually learn it like after ending the stream right now. And guy, I feel like I'm still like chewing this. Apple is way too chewy. Yes, fine people, that's the spirit. Look at you, found the banana peel and you picked it up, guys. Okay, I see. Honestly, I feel like I do want to end the stream right now. I might actually continue this part next stream while using SDL as well, because right now I will be drawing a few PNGs, maybe for like dice rolling and all that stuff. That's it. Let me say something like, Sensei, I am honestly planning to end the stream right now because I want to go and make PNGs for my dice rolling and also different stuff that I might need to use the random library in SDL3 for. That said, before I do end the stream, Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. And guys, should I actually like drop PNGs live? Because I honestly did not actually think of that. Because I do know how to connect my tablet to my actual PC, but it might be a bit laggy. I gotta actually check that. I think it was a bad idea to eat the apple. It's gonna take a while to chew it. There we go. Okay, listen up, viewers. Okay, my bad, guys. Excuse me. I just like whatchamacallit drooled all over. Listen up, guys. Everyone out there watching, remember this: randomness isn't chaos. It's opportunity disguised as uncertainty. Said by Sarah Sensei. Tonight, people is diving deep into creating assets and the learning to harness randomness in SDL3. That's the kind of grind that turns a coder into a game maker. Keep pushing, keep experimenting, and don't let anything slow you down. Now, go make those PNGs, people. When you come back, we'll turn that randomness into pure game logic. Hugs and head pat for everyone watching. You're part of chaos too. Okay, that's it. Let's go to my main camera. So, let's see. Have a wonderful sleep. Bye. Honestly, I appreciate your entertainment. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, let me actually go back to OBS. There we go. Alright guys, so pretty much that was actually pretty much it for the stream. That's it. I feel like today was not my day. Like if you guys do go back in the stream, I was like really dead the entire stream. That's also one reason I'm ending it like really soon. But I will be making a few PNGs. That said, this was pretty much it for the stream. So if you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, share, make you smile, and subscribe because like it here on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well if I did meet the followers requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link will be in the description. And also join my Discord server because that's where I usually chat with you guys. And if you guys do want my roadmap for C++, I do give that to you guys as well. That's the link. The link will be in the description as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace. Guys, I seriously wanted to like stream for longer today, but I feel like today was not my day.